Hi, my name is Haley Canales, and this is my Module 5 Lesson Experience demonstration for our Global Classrooms in Action. A little bit about my country. I chose Italy. The main global issue that I saw is rapid urbanization and poor infrastructure growth. They're located in southern Europe, and the main thing that I saw that was closely related to the rapid urbanization was the way that it affected the citizens' education. There's a very high dropout rate due to low income and poverty. And because their grant amounts are so low and they have low funding, most families have to pay out of pocket for their education experience. It costs about $4,000 for enrollment, and this is incredibly difficult for many families. So they end up having their students or their children work to be able to put themselves through education. But educating or getting an education while also working is incredibly difficult. So many students end up dropping out to be able to work and help support their family rather than go to get an education because they wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. However, some cool things about Italy is that they actually offer schooling Monday through Saturdays for ages 3 to 19. And at age 14, which is about middle school, they choose either secondary or specialized schools. So at that point, they can choose the workforce or university, which will be things like welding or an electrician, or they could be a teacher or a lawyer, and go to law school. It's just really up to what they would prefer for their future. For our video, to start the lesson plan, this is the one that I would show my students. It just gives a quick rundown about what exactly rapid urbanization is. It shares that it's a population shift from rural to urban areas. Um, it's a problem because there's overcrowding of the streets, there's not enough jobs, it contributes to poor living conditions, more air pollution, increased crimes, and not enough resources. It's affected by population growth. Rapid urbanization matches with growth to put pressure on buildings, the environment, and the social fabric of lives. Some sustainable solutions would be to create more jobs, make cities more environmentally friendly, and provide access to necessary services even in rural areas. Overall, the rapid urbanization and population are directly related, but meeting the need for jobs and providing services, even in less populated economies, will help the environment flourish without even when being overcrowded. For this lesson, the key takeaways that I would expect students to leave with is the impact that their voices make on their own cities, the impact that they have on themselves and their family and their friends, and how they can encourage them to start making changes, even if it's small, with one or two people that we know. Key takeaway 2 would be the pressure of global challenges around the world. I think it's important for students to be able to understand that global pressure and global challenges exist outside of our city, our state, our country, but also in countries that we may never be to or get to visit. I think it's really important. And then key takeaway 3 is how to understand others' global challenges and lead with empathy. Being able to understand what other countries or states are suffering with when it comes to global challenges and empathize with them helps us to be more globally competent. Some resources and activities that I would use for this lesson include the book The Lonely City Kids, How the City Works, YouTube videos such as the one we showed you from Powtoon, and My Academy Rapid Urbanization. I would use images to compare good and bad infrastructure and percentages of impacted jobs, air pollution, and poverty in good versus bad infrastructured cities, as well as charts and graphs on the impact and how it affects civilians. During this time, I would give children the opportunity to discuss what they saw in the good versus bad and some ways that we could maybe change that in our own cities after guiding them in the discussion. And then activities, our main activity is creating our own city infrastructure. However, if this were a lesson that lasted maybe a couple of weeks. I would also encourage writing a letter to the representatives in your city on changes that can be made, or creating a poster to spread awareness in our school. And then also tracking, logging, and comparing our energy saving methods to those in the class with us would also be pretty cool for students to get to see who does what differently and how the impact of the result is. So for the lesson, I would show students my mock student project and explain to them why I chose the things for my infrastructure that I did. Then students are going to go and make their own infrastructure and city based off of the information that they learned through Italy struggles and also some ideas that I give them in my student project. They can build it out of popsicle sticks, recycled material. They can do it digitally. They can draw pictures. The options are endless, but the idea is to get students to be creative. And while they're creating these cities of theirs, they're also thinking of ways that we can change our city, and then we can come together and have that discussion. So a little bit about my city. I would have a lot of parks and a lot of open trails to support just the mental health of my civilians. And we would also have really high or tall apartments to be able to house many people in the event of rapid urbanization or a large amount of citizens. We would have rooftop gardens and fruit trees to support the low income or poverty ridden people, just so that they always have a food source. Maybe money is tight that month, but they have dependable food sources that they can trust the people in charge to provide. We would have solar energy panels on all of our buildings, and this would be able to support our energy saving attempts and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, as well as save our non-renewable energy resources. We would have public transportation such as buses, trains, bikes, and scooters to reduce our air pollution. We would have infrastructure such as bridges, railroads, waterways, and airports, as well as dams. And then finally, we would have flooding protocol in place that also serves as a multitude of things, such as a water resource to water our plants in our parks, or rain collection barrels to water our rooftop gardens and our fruit trees. The idea with this is that not only am I supporting the citizens of my city, I'm also providing jobs. I'm providing jobs to people to upkeep the parks. I'm providing jobs of people to build the bridges, to run public transportation. So while my citizens are in mind as far as economic poverty and low income goes, they are also being provided jobs. Students will then go and make their own student project, and we'll come together and discuss the why behind our actions. The product of this lesson is awareness, understanding, and action. Students will understand the impact of rapid urbanization. Students will be aware of the changes that make an impact and how to encourage the change, and students will take action to implement change in themselves. Students will take action to implement change in their communities. Here are my references. Thank you.